Good afternoon, everyone, on this windy Monday afternoon, and welcome back to our family and friends updates. And thank you for taking the time to join us this afternoon. Kindly note that our meeting is being recorded today. We hope that you all had the chance to relax and recharge over the holidays. My name is Petronila Ndebele, and I'm the Director of Strategic Communications and Stakeholder Relations, and will be facilitating today's program. And as we start the new year, it is also time to reflect on our journeys and places we call home. My journey began in Zimbabwe, and in 2010, my family and I came to Canada, a place we decided to call home. Since then, we have been calling Canada our home. Moving to Canada opened my eyes to its unique history, especially the stories of our Indigenous peoples. One of my introductions was a cultural awareness training course in the North. It was very challenging and very emotional. However, it inspired me to learn more, and I'll continue to do so by talking to colleagues and doing research on my own. This journey of learning has been deeply meaningful, and I remain committed to continuing it with respect and humility. And as we gather today, I want to honor the Indigenous peoples who have stewarded this land for generations. And in the spirit of reconciliation and respect, I would like to begin with a land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13, signed with Mississaugas of the Credit, and the Williams Treaty is signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. We also acknowledge that we are all treaty peoples, including those who came here as settlers, as migrants either in this generation or in generations past, and those of us who came here involuntarily, particularly as a result of the transatlantic slave trade. Today, we pay tribute to the ancestors of those of African and Indigenous origin and descent. Before we begin, there are a few housekeeping items to address, and please feel free to use our chat function to share your thoughts, ask a question, or make a comment. Would like to hear from you to keep the conversation going. And on your screen shortly is our agenda for today. We have some amazing updates, as you can see. And if by any chance you are experiencing any technical issues or technical difficulties, kindly let Atam know. And I think he has put his details in the chat. And without wasting any time, it is now time for our first update. And I'm pleased to share that we have an opportunity to have Heather Dawson, who is the Director of Quality and Risk, to give us an update on a family experience survey that is upcoming. Heather, please take it away.
Great, thanks so much, Petronella. I'm happy to be here today. And I'm also pleased to be sharing some, what we think is some pretty exciting news. And that is that next week, we will be rolling out our family experience survey. So the purpose of this survey is to understand the overall experience and expectations of families, including a person's support network. We want to hear your opinions about how well we're doing when it comes to our mission and strategic goals, most specifically when it comes to putting the people we support first. And we also want to understand your expectations and experience related to our supports and services, communication with families and family involvement, and our efforts towards diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. So people may recall that we did conduct the same survey about a year ago. So now, after we get our results for this year, we'll be able to see where we have made improvements based on your feedback and where there are opportunities to continually improve in quality and service delivery. In order to ensure that people feel comfortable in responding to the survey in a way that will be anonymous to CLTO, we've partnered with a research company called Leger to conduct the survey. The survey can be completed by phone interview or online, and it will take about 10 minutes to complete. Last week, we did send out emails to families of people supported in supported living, specialized services, and community participation supports to let them know about the survey and to provide an opportunity to either opt out of the survey, which we hope you don't do, or to arrange for a specific time to take a phone survey if that's your preference. So that's the update I wanted to provide today. And just to let you know that this is coming. If you hear from Leger, either by phone or if you receive an email from a company called Leger, this is the survey that's being conducted through Community Living Toronto. So we please do invite you and encourage you to provide us with your feedback and do take this time if you are able to do so. The results, including a comparison to last year's results, will be provided at a future Family and Friends webinar, probably around May or June of this year. And if you do need any other information about the survey, there's an email address, which I believe is in the chat. And that email address is cltosurvey@cltotoronto.ca. And I get all of those emails that come to me, and I will be pleased to respond to any emails. And as well, there will be a bit of information posted on our website about the survey. So that's my update, Petronella. Back over to you.
Thank you so much, Heather. And indeed, the contact details on how to respond to the survey, it's in the chat. So everyone, we encourage you, as Heather said, that please do take the opportunity. Would like to hear feedback so that we can understand better your needs and experiences. So Heather will keep us updated, and we'll be back with the results in May. Thank you so much, Heather. On that note, as we focus on families and their journeys, I would like to welcome a special guest for our Community Unplugged session, Mike. Mike is a dynamic executive leader with over 25 years of experience at global Fortune 500 companies. He has implemented strategic frameworks focused on diversity, inclusion, and driving organizational growth, and is a member of Light's board of directors. And we are so excited that you're joining us this afternoon. Thank you, Mike, and Brad, over to you.
Great, thanks, Petronella. Mike, I want to ask you a question to start things off. Are you going to fill out our family survey?
I certainly will, but I want to thank Petronella. Thank you for the invite. I fill out everything. The one thing about me, someone says, when you go to a restaurant, do you ever comment on the service? I do everything. I comment on good, the bad, the ugly. And I've learned that over my skills owning restaurants. And you know what? People learn from these things, and we have to take advantage. And that's why they're there. So yes, I will fill out the survey with great detail, granular detail, sharing every element of what we do. Not a problem with me, Brad.
Perfect, thanks. And we will take your advice along with everybody else's to help change, adjust, do things better, or keep doing more of the same. So we really encourage the more data, the more information we get, the better, more valid the survey is. So we'd really love people's time to get that done. And great option that if you don't want to do the online thing, that you can make a call or send an email, and we'll arrange to call you. So thanks everyone, and thanks Mike for the boost of confidence in our survey outreach.
They're important. That's why they're there.
It is. Now, Mike, welcome. Thanks for doing this.
No worries.
And now you're relatively new to the Community Living Toronto family in the last year or so, maybe a little bit less, but tell us a little bit about yourself and your family. I've got to know you a little bit in the last little bit, and we've become fast friends, and share a little bit about yourself. And
yeah, definitely. But one thing I do have to say, thank you for the welcoming Community Living's giving me, and giving me the opportunity to be part of the board and help out in many ways. We've been part of Community Living as a family for a long period of time. My wife was the one that had the reins on doing everything for Logan, and now it's shifted. I'm getting heavily involved. She's had, an up and down journey, and we'll talk about that, with overall trying to navigate for Logan's life. But my journey is very unique. I've been in the business community for many years, lived in New York for a number of years, lived in Phoenix for a number of years, worked with companies that were very unique. I actually started my career as a chef. So I was an executive chef for many years at Movenpick, which taught me a lot of skills from knowing how to run a business. I opened my own restaurant and worked for Oliver Bonacini, opened Jump with Michael Bonacini, catered to almost every tower in the city, worked with so many celebrities. I was actually the executive chef that opened the Sky Dome and the Toronto International Film Festival. So the first festival here. So, and then when Logan was born, I couldn't stay in that field. It was just too hard, working weekends and nights. And there were some days I was working.
When was Logan born, Mike?
Logan was born in 92. So, okay. She was 92, and the first year of her life, Brad, we really didn't know anything was wrong with Logan, and it happened after the first year. But being in that industry, you just can't do it. You can't support the family. So I morphed into the business world due to the fact that I had so many skills from the restaurant community. I went into sales and developing loyalty programs and more about marketing and partnerships. And really, I've mentored so many people, and they've looked at my career and they've said, how could you go from an executive chef to a vice president of Fortune 500 companies? You know how I did it?
It's a fair question.
Yeah, you know what? They're good questions. But I did it through support with my family. And in many occasions, I was quite afraid of what I was doing. But I persevered, moved on, and kept on learning and learning. And I think anyone can learn anything if they put their mind to it.
Yeah.
And just be thoughtful and collaborative and work with people and understand what they're doing first so you can learn their skills moving forward.
Great. So my daughter, who's 19, played softball when she was younger. And actually Heather Dunn, who's coming up next, our daughters played in a few tournaments together over the years. And one day, I'm going to say 10 years ago, I posted this Facebook post that said, softball league fees, $300, softball bat, $250, watching your daughter hit her first triple, priceless.
Love it.
Why would that resonate with you?
I had a lot to do with the Priceless program with MasterCard. And like I said, I actually pinch myself sometimes when, some of the things I've worked on, some of the people that I've met. The MasterCard Priceless program is one of the best programs in the world I've ever thought. It's a platform that connects people together and creates moments. In our lives today, we have unique moments and we cherish them. They're no different. I had an opportunity to work with celebrities like Justin Timberlake, the Carrie Underwoods, the football players, baseball players. Like I work with everyone. Yeah, I mean, and when I looked at Priceless, life is about priceless moments in our professional and personal lives. So a lot of that taught me a lot of lessons, in my current life to really say, cherish those moments, cherish those simple moments as well, because I think we take things for granted. And I think when you have a, special needs child, you don't take the little things for granted because to them, it means something more than we're used to. We know how to ride the TTC or go do simple things. They don't. But when they take those moments on,
right,
and they learn those skills. That's a moment for them that's priceless. I remember when Logan got her job just recently.
Mm-hmm.
We got a call from Little E Cafe, which is in Toronto, and the manager was on.
Remind people where Little E is.
So yeah, Little E is a special place in Toronto, Yonge and St. Clair. It's a cafe that only has special needs adults working in there, and it's such a warm feeling when you go in there and you see what they're trying to achieve as individuals. It breaks your heart sometimes, but it's also fulfilling at the same time. We were walking out of Home Hardware, I think it was Home Depot, and we get a call from Logan's manager at Little E, and Logan was on the phone. We got news for you. They did a pop-up at Scotiabank, and Logan did such a great job there. And they liked what she did that they offered her a permanent position that's part-time, which was phenomenal. It's hard to get a job for these individuals.
Yeah.
So we're walking, both my wife and I, and we got this call and they said, we've got news for you. And the news was that Logan's been hired for a permanent role. And I tell you, the tears in both my wife and our eyes was just priceless. It was a priceless moment. And those small achievements or those small phone calls or those connections are really what life's about. It's those moments that really connect people.
Yeah. So, Logan was born in 1992,
Yes.
and just recently she's gotten a job, and there's a lot in between. Can you talk to us about what that journey was like for you and
Yeah,
her and your family?
It wasn't easy. And I think a lot of families go through ebbs and flows during the journey of a child. First year of her life, she wasn't really bonding with us. And, my mother-in-law noticed the fact that, she wasn't, and her eye was shifting quite a bit. And we really didn't think of it much. But then once we brought her to an ophthalmologist and then went through all the journey of that journey was a tough one, because we then ended up at Sick Kids. It was more than just an eye shifting. It was neurological. It was, pale optic nerves. She was born considered legally blind. So, after a year of, trying to find ways of bonding with her, we knew why she wasn't. And that changed our whole life. Logan's 32. She'll be turning 33 next month. And Kathy has been really, I can't say enough about what my wife has done to really build Logan as a person. She did it more than I did, due to the fact that I worked so much and I was always traveling and didn't have the time. But she lifted every stone, tried to find and recover anything that Logan could do during that journey, because when there's special needs, her learning abilities are short, her retention of information, all these things, she walked with a gait. And I think many families go through what we did. There were ebbs and flows and pressure on your family as well. So the journey was good and bad. And it's okay to say that it's good and bad, because those are the bumps that you're going to go through as a family. But eventually you get to a point where I look at Logan today, couldn't be more proud of what she's achieved as an individual, but it's done, as a family. And, you can't do this without people around you and surrounding you with the right people around you.
Yeah. Are there any sort of significant moments that stand out for you around in Logan's journey and your family, like, or anything that jumps out as being particularly significant that influenced you?
Yeah, I think the most significant thing was just most recently. Yeah, I mean, that she moved out on her own. Yeah, I mean, so
Got a job, moved out.
moved out all in a year, and what a feeling.
Tell us about that. So she's moved out.
Yeah,
she lived at home. Yeah.
But once again, as a father, it was always challenging for me. My wife, she was, like I said, just put her out there, let her do it. Like, for example, the TTC, the simple thing. I didn't want her to take the TTC. So I look at her today, she rides it better than anyone that I know, or even better than me. So, right. But that's that fear factor. But my wife and I came to a point where we said that we've got to find something for Logan, because we're in our 60s and we want to make sure that she's more independent and not relying on our son. So let me touch back. So in my family, I have a son, very successful son, very proud of what him and his wife have done. I'm a grandfather. They have 2 kids. He's a lawyer. She's a lawyer. They've great, successful family. Can't make me any more proud than I am today. But I don't want to put the burden on them to support Logan. So my wife and I were thinking ahead. We've got to get her moved out. Moved out also for the reason that my wife and I need to be alone. We needed independence for ourselves too. People forget that. So she moved out last year. She got a permanent job. I think that's what it was, Brad. And that wasn't an easy task either, because I think some people have heard me speak during these past couple of weeks on broadcast that Logan was on a list for 14 years waiting to find a home. And that's hard. But we took, means in our own hands and started, sourcing different information, different agencies, and Lights came about. And Lights is just a phenomenal organization that I'm a board member then, and helping to grow that program with the support of Community Living. Gave Logan the opportunity to move out and also be funded at the same time. Because once again, a lot of these people, live their lives on ODSP, and that's, we know, as we all know on this phone call as families, that the ODSP needs to be looked at. Someone can't live on $1,300 a year and support themselves with housing, food, just about everything. So that's probably the highlight. Honestly, it happened at a later part in our year.
Yeah, no, it's a great point too. And just to circle back to the point around ODSP, I think the rate now, it always sort of hovers at a little less than the rate of poverty
It
in the
does.
city.
Yeah.
And it's, well, it's $1,300 a month or so. And now the minister, the government, a couple of years ago, connected the rate of ODSP to the rate of inflation, the same way that they did with the minimum wage, which was a really good initiative that the ministry, Ford's government did. But it still doesn't change the fact that it's 50% of really what you need to live at the poverty line in the city. So it does put people who are on ODSP at real risk of homelessness, of food insecurity, of not being able to maintain and be in safe spaces.
And that's the hard part that we see as a parent of a child with disabilities, is that we have to think further ahead. But I think the thinking needs to start earlier than later. And I look at, lifting the hood with what Community Living's done over these years. I'm proud of what you guys have done, but I know you're underfunded and you need funding. The government needs to get involved with this sector, even more so, because I think early intervention is the biggest thing. So I think when you look at a family with a special needs individual is that they need to start thinking about this at 40, not at 60. We were thinking through the whole journey at an earlier stage where we were uncovering, where can Logan participate in this program? Is there a special needs bowling club? Is there a drama club? Where can she socialize with people? Because one of the things that is always top in our mind is loneliness. I just heard most recently, 50% of Canadians are lonely. And in our community, it's even worse because it's hard for them to keep a friend and find a friend and socialize, because parents deal with their kids differently, because some don't want them to take TTC, some don't want them to go out. But I think Community Living needs to get additional support to talk to families earlier, to provide that intervention, to provide that critical path of growth for that individual, housing, food, economy, whatever it is, Brad. That's what I'm looking at, looking inside to Community Living.
Yeah, I completely agree. And those are things that are important to us as well. In terms of Logan's journey, you talked about loneliness and using, you sort of gone through a list of important things that are important for people for a good quality of life.
Yeah.
What were some of the things, practical things that you did with Logan and that she did for herself around making sure that she had friends and was connected to community? And talk a little bit about how you and she and your family worked through that.
Yeah, I look at it it's having a purpose. I think that's what it is. Give me an example. We were driving home yesterday and Logan said, wow, I'm going to be really busy this week. I got to work today. I got 2 extra shifts on Tuesday and Wednesday. We got to go fix my passport. I got to get this done on Thursday. I'm going to drama. It's finding programs and fitting that individual in there, because you almost have to push them, because sometimes they don't want to do it. I.e., for example, Logan goes to special needs bowling at Parkway Plaza on Saturdays. And what a remarkable place to kind of connect with like-minded individuals. And hopefully she gets friendships there. So what Kathy's done and is over the years is really uncovered different programs through your sources, through different sources. Some have worked, some haven't. We made sure that she was somewhat self-sufficient to go to the grocery store, learn a little bit more about money. Just the simple things that we take for granted is what we taught Logan over the years. And I look at Logan from when she was 18 to now she's going to be 33. In those years, she learned a ton. So when you look at Logan, very normal, very high functioning, but there's a lot of deficiencies. But we kept on pushing. And the example of the TTC was the hardest for me, but we did it. Kathy was very persistent. It's those simple things that we take for granted that make a difference for them.
Right. So that's excellent. You talked also around the importance for you and your wife around planning with Logan for her future, so that your son and his wife didn't feel an obligation to be a caregiver, care provider for Logan. And there's an organization called Siblings Canada that does a lot of work
Right.
in this area
Yeah.
around, what are the expectations that parents can have of other siblings, of people with a disability, and where those lines are. How did you navigate those waters early on, or what were the conversations like? What would you say to other families who are thinking about that? How do you start those conversations off?
Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest questions people ask themselves as they age. You cannot be overprotective of your child. Treat them normally, in the sense that, I understand they have disabilities, but you've got to remember, in order for them to be self-sufficient, you've got to break down some of those boundaries of fear and give them the opportunity to achieve. So with Logan and ourselves, it's not only the benefit of the child, it's also the benefit of the mother and father, because you get to a point where you need some independence for yourself and creating a life for yourself. Now, I look at those discussions, they're not easy, but over time, if you're staying persistent and you're having that dialogue, that's saying to Logan that, you're going to have to move out sooner or later because you've got to build that independence, having those conversations earlier than later. And we've met families that have waited quite long in their late 60s, and they've got a 50-year-old or a 55-year-old that's still with them. You're in a tough situation right then, because you haven't reacted early enough to have those tough conversations of, as a family unit, not just with Logan, as your entire family unit. Because we've done this with our entire family being involved, even with Michael, our son. We've talked about the fact that, we don't want to put the burden on you. We want to make sure Logan's self-sufficient. Certainly she'll need a little bit of support, but tough dialogue, but you've got to have it as a family unit.
And that piece you touched on, I think that's something a parent goes through around, accepting a degree of risk to give your child, there's a sort of dignity that comes with risk, right?
There is.
You talk about Logan using the TTC. Again, my kids are 19 and 17.
Yeah.
And when they were, I would say, get on the GO train, go downtown, take the sun, but it's nervous there, right? Because sometimes the TTC is a risky place, or you can be in uncomfortable situations. You can get lost.
She has gotten lost. I'll give you a perfect example. She's out in Ronsonsville, and the subway stopped, and she didn't realize she was the only one on the platform. This was about a month and a half ago. And she said, "Dad, the subway's not coming." I said, "Well, Logan, the subway may be turned off there." "Oh, I don't." And she was crying, and I had to walk her up to the TTC booth upstairs, and wasn't happy how the TTC handled it. And that's a whole different discussion. But it's those simple things. But she learns a skill there where she said, "I should have probably asked a question." So she was in a tough situation. She should have thought, go upstairs, ask the question, and then call us and then take the Uber. But she didn't. But she learned a lesson there. Those are the tough ones that you learn, and now she'll remember in the future.
Yeah.
But as a family of a special needs child, you're saying, "Oh man, is someone going to take advantage of her? Is she going to be stuck in that situation?" Those are those fearful moments, Brad. But
no, and I can relate where your instinct is sort of, don't move. I'll be there. And
but how am I going to get, and we know the traffic in Toronto would probably take me 2 hours. I said, "Logan, we're going to have to walk through this together." And we did walk through it together. And what a skill she learned there, because she learned a simple skill to make sure she had to be proactive in the future, to look at her environment, her surroundings, and question what's going on, and then react.
Yeah, well, that's actually that you've been able to build up that relationship and that trust and that comfort with that discomfort of the risk that could be there, right?
Don't get me wrong, Brad. It's still hard to this day, because I'm saying, what's she going to do up in Ronsonsville, up on Queen of Ronsonsville? What can happen? Yeah, because you're always
exactly,
careful, right?
Exactly. Now you've generously volunteered to be on the Lights board. Yes. And you're bringing your expertise and background in marketing to that group, so that much appreciated.
Thank you.
You've also supported the sector with some of our work that we're doing around the Waiting to Belong campaign.
Yes.
You've got a background in marketing, as you talked about, and you've actually gone on a couple of media events where you and Logan have been interviewed on some of the morning shows and all that. Two things. Can you tell us, what that experience was like for you and Logan, the media piece? And then what is Waiting to Belong, and what are we trying to get at there? What's your, what would you say there?
Yeah, two good questions. The experience was phenomenal. I remember sitting, because I've done a lot of media events over my career. This was the first one for Logan. First one was City TV, actually. And so we're sitting in a green room, and she didn't know the environment and ready to go get mic'd up and everything. And you know what? What an experience for her. Like she just
Yeah.
soaked it up. And the interview was just phenomenal. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but on the call here, but she did a remarkable job. She held her own. She talked about her own journey. I didn't talk about it. She described everything.
Yeah.
So when I saw what she did, and our whole family got around it and everyone was watching, and proud moment for us. And you know, what great experience for her to talk about herself in front of a camera in the world. And we need more of that. We need more spokespeople like Logan out there to really talk about who they are as individuals, so people understand that there's a community out there that's almost forgotten to us, is the way we feel. And so it's out there, and that the campaign that's out there right now, we're proud of what you're doing. Belonging is probably one of the biggest things for these people, is just being part of a community, being part of getting up in the morning and going to work, just like my wife and I would do, just like any other normal thing. And that's what it's all about, making sure that they're just treated like everyone else. I know when Logan was born and we found out her deficiencies, we didn't treat her any differently. We treated her just like the other grandkids that we threw out there. She would get the bumps and bruises, and that's belonging. That's not changing the environment. You're adapting the environment, and she's socializing in that environment as a normal individual.
Yeah, that's great. Manal just posted a link to your CTV
Oh, good.
piece
Thank
in
you.
the chat. So if people haven't seen it, I'm sure I'm sure people have seen it, but
Yeah.
for those that haven't, it is really good. You were on with Chris Beasley and
We were, yeah.
and that, so that was excellent. Has there been you've been through a lot, and you and your wife have been thoughtful around where you want to see things go for your
Yeah.
family and for Logan.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for you know, professionals? And professionals could, you know, docs that you might have interacted with, or you've had experience with sick kids, or you know, people that work with community living who are direct support staff, or people like myself. What advice or suggestions would you have for us around how we can do things better? First part. And then to other parents, do you have any thoughts that you'd share around what kept you going when you were?
I think the biggest thing I say to a lot of people is open dialogue. You're going to succeed through open dialogue, and don't be fearful of saying anything that you think someone may construe differently. I.e., for example, Chris Beasley made a great point during one of the interviews. He said a lot of parents would like to see their disabled child pass away before they do.
Yeah.
That's a powerful statement. You know why? It's because of the care. That's an open statement out there that people think, why would someone say that? It's reality. It's just being open, and it's not fearful. It's just saying the right thing, what's on your mind, because you live in a different environment when you manage or live with someone with special needs, because you're dealing with so many different things. So my advice is to any family, any organization, is open dialogue and early intervention and early discussions. Don't wait for something to come to you, because it will not come in this sector. You have to lift those rocks, look under those rocks, find something. If you don't find something, move on to the next. As it relates to your organization, it's really, for me, lifting the hood, and what I've seen, what you manage and what Chris and the entire community living group manages, is funding, the lack of it. I want to see the government more involved in this sector, to start giving back through proper funding. Understanding the journey of families is the most important thing, because people look at Logan, they look at Kathy and I and my entire family, they're okay because Logan can walk, she's normal,
Right.
But we're not. Lift our hood, and it's a completely different environment. People need to understand what we live in every day. So those are probably what I would bring forward from my opinion on what needs to happen.
Okay. That's excellent. And you raise a good point. There's a bit of a myth with government funding, or funding from the ministry. And that is that, you know, every year your budgets, you get a couple of % more, and you manage cost of living. And that's an absolute myth. We do not get automatic increases from our funder. And, you know, last year we had a Five to Survive campaign and had really increases in 25, 30 years. Or we'd had increases totaling, I forget what the number was, say 7 or 9%, whereas cost of living, inflation had gone up 60%. So those gaps are made up somehow. And at some point, if we want to have good disability services, we're the envy of many parts of the world. And we don't want to see those infrastructure, the social care infrastructure crumble because we're not willing to keep putting, you know, step increases around funding every year.
Yeah. And being part of your journey now, which I'm thrilled to be part of the Community Living journey and the Lights journey, it's giving me a sense of pride. It's actually probably been my best job I've ever had, more than any corporate role I would have held, more than any other role throughout my career. I think giving back to a community that needs help is so fulfilling in right now in my journey in life. And I plan to have a large voice. I do talk a lot. I am very open, as you can see, and I won't stop. The one thing I have always said to teams that I've managed, if you've got a question, put it on the table, because I want to hear it, because it means something to you. That's how I live and make sure I manage my life moving forward. If I've got questions, I'm going to ask the hard questions. I'm going to push those buttons to try to influence change. So you're going to get that from me. And when I speak to families, I'm open with my discussions with the families, as open as I just was right now with you guys.
Great, thank you. I'm going to wrap up, and we end up with the same question for everybody. We put a lot of emphasis on belonging and community and the neighborhoods that we're in across the city, and that, and you've touched on that, on the importance of that. What does belonging mean to you?
Belonging means to me that you're loved by someone. It means that you've got a support mechanism behind you to support you for the future. We all need that as individuals, whether you're a special needs adult or an individual. And for me, it's belonging to a community of people that can support you for the future. And that's what it is. You need support, you need open dialogue, you need friendship, you need all the things that are common in life, but it has to happen all the time. And I reflect back on the fact that loneliness is probably the worst thing in life. And as you age, and then you're not around to support these individuals, it weighs heavy on your mind. So it's just, the care and love that we need to give each other from a community perspective.
Yeah, excellent, great answer. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mike, thanks for doing this discussion with us.
You're welcome.
Sharing your thoughts, and I really appreciate you have certainly dove in and rolled up your sleeves and are getting things done. You've kind of inspired us. Well, not kind of, you have inspired us.
Thank you.
Because one of the things working with organizations like ours, we rely so much on volunteers and volunteer leadership. And when people come in and are just enthused and see value in what you're doing, it really does go a long way for those of us in the organization and across the organization. So thank you for that. You've really brought that. That's been a gift to us from you. So thank you so much for doing that.
No worries. Thank you. And thank you for having me today. And for the families on the phone, I'm always open to talk to any family. I do it quite often. So feel free, to reach out to me if you ever want to chat.
Great. Thanks, Mike.
You're welcome. Thank you again.
It is those simple things that can make a difference, those simple things that we take for granted. Thank you so much, Mike, for sharing Logan's story and for being a champion for many families out there. And thank you also for offering to be a voice to those who are on the call. And I'm sure my team will put your details in the chat if you don't mind, so that they can reach you. So thank you so much for taking the time to be with us this afternoon, and happy birthday in advance to Logan next month.
Thank you. Thank you again.
All right. Next, we have an update on community participation, supports, and respect. And I would like to invite Heather Dunn, Senior Program Manager, Community Participation, Supports, and Respect, for some important updates. Heather, over to you.
Thank you, Petronella. And that was absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much, Mike, for sharing your story. Loved it so much. We are very, very interested in hearing from families. That seems to be the theme of the day. And I'm going to continue that on as I share a little bit of updates in regards to community participation supports and respite. Going to kick off. We've heard from you. Many of our families and stakeholders have reached out. They loved what we were doing at Community Junction and Creative Village Studio over the years. And we've expanded those offerings now to across the city. So we have a variety of offerings that are still available, actually. Some of you may not have realized, but we have expanded our satellite opportunities for people to engage in fee-for-service programming at a few different locations across the city. So we have new programs available at the East Mall, Advance Road, and Foster Connection. I'm happy to say that the January to March sessions are open and running, but we do still have some spaces available. So if you're interested, you can contact us directly at the number on the screen there, or you can go right on to My Community Hub and register, and you will have a prorated cost to that fee for service program, just because we're going to be starting midway through the session. If you want to come on out and try it out, just let us know. So I'm also going to provide you an update. So as we continue to evolve and grow our experience guides at our community participation support locations across the city, we have been hearing from you, and we're just coming up into our winter portion of our first 6-month session. So in October, we did a first 6-month session, and believe it or not, we're going to be doing signups very soon. As of March 5th, we'll be doing our signups for our spring and summer session. So this session will go from April to September 2025. And we wanted to highlight a few of the amazing experiences that we're going to be offering. We've heard from families, we've heard from people supported within the programs. And we've actually identified a lot of different opportunities within the community to engage in activities. So a lot of the programs that you may have seen in previous experience guides were focused a little bit more on center-based programming. So we still will have a lot of those fun favorites for everybody, but we're going to be exploring a little bit more in the community and getting people out and about and learning a little bit more about what's happening in their neighborhoods, exploring the parks and communities around them, and having an opportunity to celebrate all different things that are happening within the neighborhood of the location, as well as all over the city. So we're really excited to share that, and we hope you take an opportunity to look at all of the different opportunities we have from our community participation support programs. So in addition to those fun and exciting community activities that we have, everything from learning opportunities, going out and about and connecting and celebrating all over the city, we also wanted to highlight a couple of opportunities. We did have an introduction to volunteerism at Fairfax previously. It wasn't heavily attended, so we wanted to get the word out for those who are interested in being in a small group and learning about valued roles in the community, learning about the importance of volunteering and how they can create those opportunities for themselves, and sharing some ideas and some passions with that group. That will be hosted out of our Fairfax location starting in April. And we also will be doing an employment and skill builder experience out of our Finch location. So this is for folks, people who are interested in exploring employment, learning some of the soft skills and the hard skills that come along with getting ready for employment, including things like interview prep, writing resumes, and lots of fun things. So those are going to be coming as of April, and we just want to make sure that everybody's aware of these fun and exciting new experiences. Okay, so we're excited to continue to provide updates. We've been providing these updates along the way for our relocation of Lawson Children's Program. We are in the process of relocating from Lawson over to 28 McMillan Avenue for our home of the Children's Respite Program in the Scarborough area. So as you can see, this is a home that's nestled right in a really cozy neighborhood in the east end of Scarborough. And it's right near lots of parks and community centers, and there's lots of fun things that are in that area. And we're looking forward to welcoming the children to that location very soon. And our team of both the site program as well as our properties team have been working really hard to create a really fun and engaging environment for the kids to come and stay and play. So we wanted to share some fun pictures to let you see what the space looks like inside as well as outside. So in the first couple of pictures you'll see on the left-hand side, we do have the main floor is fully accessible. And it's going to be a little bit more focused for the younger children's space. It's an open space that the kids are going to be able to come in and do some tabletop activities, have free play, engage in fun and exercise within that space. And then in the lower area on the right-hand side, we have a space that's more dedicated to our older children or youth space. And so that'll be a fun place for the older children to come and engage, do some gaming, have some fun activities, learn some small cooking skills and things like that. We also wanted to show the fun and very bright and renovated spaces that have been recreated for making them morally welcome for children. We want to make sure the environment was accessible and safe and lots of room for the kids to feel comfortable and safe while they're with us, and a great opportunity to join us at this location. We will be, as we're going through this transition, our team has been connecting with families. If you haven't had an opportunity yet to connect with our supervisor, Nicole Mazzotta, please do reach out to her or myself. Our numbers will be in the next slide, but really want to make sure that you are reassured that we will be here for you throughout this process and in the transition from Lawson to McMillan, and we'll be here every step along the way to help with intake and make it as smooth a transition as possible. So this is another opportunity. Again, we are constantly talking about, in this session today, we're talking a lot about engagement, stakeholder engagement, hearing from you, because we are constantly, especially in community participation support, we have been doing some specific community participation support surveys where we've been reaching out to families and friends, trying to get people to engage with us, and share insights into what's working, what's not working, what do you wish for, and what do you wonder about the future. So once again, we're going to be offering an opportunity for family of people supported to come on out to an in-person session. We're going to be doing just a little bit of fun engagement with families Wednesday, February 26th at the East Mall. And that'll be from 3:30 to 5:30. We're looking forward to listening to you guys once again, hearing about what's been working, some of the things that you've loved about our new model of CPS, some of the things that you're hoping for in the future, and then any concerns. That's how we get better. You know, we've been listening, and we've been changing, and we've been evolving our calendars and our schedules all to incorporate all of the great things that people have provided us, and insights from people supported as well. So we wanted to make sure that we know that sometimes coming in person can be a bit of a challenge. It could be travel or whatever the case may be. So we also are going to be providing a virtual opportunity for folks who would like to join us through Zoom. Sometimes that's a little bit easier for people to come on out. So we do have a virtual option, and that will be hosted the next day from 7 to 8. You're welcome to come to both, or just join in on one, or reach out to us at our email. And as always, we always like to finish off with a quick update and just a reminder that we have a website that we do keep up to date with all of the up-to-date experience guides. Our new one isn't quite up there yet. It will be coming up in the next couple of weeks. But you got a sneak peek today. You will see all of our brochures, as well as a way to connect with us via phone or by email. You're always welcome to reach out. We're really happy to hear from you. And thanks. That's all for me today. Thanks, Petronella. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Heather, for providing an update on those fun and exciting activities. We hope that you and your team will continue to provide those updates. And the details have also been put in the chat to all those who want to go and participate on February 27th at 7 p.m. at the East Mall. We are all welcome to join and to share your views so that you can help us to serve better and meet the needs of the people we support. Thank you so much, Heather and team. And up next, we are pleased to share a short video that gives a glimpse into CLTO Sibley Parkview location, where inclusion and community come to life every day. We hope that you're going to enjoy the video. Team, may I kindly ask that we play the video now?
Welcome to Sibley Parkview.
Hi, I'm Melanie Hooker, Program Manager in CPS and Respite. Sibley Parkview is the first of its kind of Community Living Toronto. In one building, we house 3 separate programs, aiming to meet the unique needs of individuals in each program.
Respite is a supportive place for individuals to visit while providing an opportunity for families, caregivers to get a short break while loved ones participate in meaningful activities on site and in the community. On the main floor, our adult respite program has been hard at work to create a welcoming, fun, and educational environment for the individuals in the program. Adult respite offers supports for individuals that are aged 18 and up. We offer 24-hour support that is accessible. This provides an opportunity for socializing and learning about others. We are a warm and welcoming environment where we cater to diverse needs and preferences.
Hi everyone, my name is Mark. We're at Sibley now. Last Friday we went to Center Island. I went there with my friends. They have lunch there, they have some snacks and walk around. They didn't been on the rides this year because they close it till next year.
At Sibley Parkview, we also have these specialized resource homes on the lower level of the building. Typically, this is called the SRH homes. We support people with complex needs and autism with goals of behavior reduction and skill acquisition.
Step Up, a supported living program, aims to address the gaps in service for transitional aged youth. Individuals at Step Up are aged 18 to 29 years old, have past involvement with the Child Welfare Services, and/or are coming to our program through the shelter system, and many are living with mental health challenges. Youth in Step Up live in their own apartments, shared with one housemate. We aim to engage the youth through person-centered planning, relationship development, and a focus on autonomy. We support the self-sufficiency through the encouragement of personal choice and skill development. Staff provide youth with access to services that are aligned with their personal goals, developmentally appropriate, culturally competent, and inclusive.
The Step Up program focuses heavily on building community connections and relationships with local stakeholders. By developing these relationships, we increase the accessibility to community, programming, supports, and funding for the individuals supported. To further improve the quality of the supports to the youth, Step Up will be rolling out a staff onboarding initiative aimed at educating and investing in their skill set.
TIFS Toronto is an acronym for Trying It On for Size Toronto. TIFS Toronto has an innovative approach to helping people with intellectual disabilities gain more autonomy in their lives. TIFS person-centered programming is uniquely designed for each participant, and no 2 TIFS programs are exactly alike. Every participant brings their existing knowledge and experience to TIFS, which informs their curriculum. TIFS is a well-rounded, year-long life skills program where participants receive one-to-one coaching that gives them the skills, knowledge, and experience needed for independence.
Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that video. Stay tuned. We do have a few more series that we'll bring to you. And thank you so much to the team for capturing those beautiful moments, profiling some of our programs at the Sibley Parkview. Thank you so much. As we come to an end, my sincerest thanks to all our presenters. It was a pleasure to have you with us and to hear your updates. And a special thank you to Mike for joining us this afternoon and sharing Logan's story. Our next Family and Friends update will be in April. We will share the registration details closer to the date. As we sign off, I want to highlight about February, which is Inclusive Education Month, a time to recognize the importance of learning environments where everyone has the opportunity to grow, contribute, and thrive. Inclusive education goes beyond classroom, and we encourage everyone to join us in spreading awareness, celebrate diverse learning needs, and creating spaces where everyone feels valued. And we also note that February is Black History Month, a time to reflect and celebrate these achievements, contributions, and resilience of Black individuals and communities throughout history. It is an important and an opportunity to honor the legacies of those who have paved the way for equality and justice, while acknowledging the ongoing challenges faced by Black communities today. We are also encouraged to learn about the rich cultural stories and accomplishments of Black Canadians and others around the world, and to recommit ourselves to building a society rooted in inclusion, equity, and mutual respect. Also, stay tuned to our Community Chance podcast, where we continue to bring stories and insights from the community. We do have a special on inclusive education feature next month, so please do join us. If you have any stories or experiences you would like to share, please reach out to Minau Nanda, Manager Internal Communications and Policy, and she will add her details in the chat if she has not already done so. So please feel free to share your stories. We want to hear them. As we navigate these cold days of winter, let us continue to shine a light through kindness and compassion. Let us take a moment to check in on one another, and together, let's keep making a difference in the lives we touch. Thank you for joining us, and have a great afternoon, everyone.